What is up? Welcome to another edition of SacTown Movie Buffs. Once again, I'm Kier, and this is Jason. And today we are not reviewing a film per se. Today we are actually doing a recap of the Oscars from last weekend. So today is actually Wednesday. So the Oscars were last Sunday. I don't know when the show is actually going to air yet, but we're just a couple days off from the Oscars. Just kind of what discuss maybe just kind of the Oscars in general. The winners, the awards, and then I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on it. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on it, but there is a big elephant in the room that definitely needs to be addressed for sure. So we'll definitely discuss all that. And I say without further ado, we get right into it. All right. So Oscars 2022. Before I get into the elephant in the room, I just want to go over just the Oscars show in general without the elephant in the room. Overall, what was your impression of the show, excluding, the thing that we're going to get to in a second here?
Well, on one level, I always enjoy the Oscars on some level, because I just like, I get takeout, I bring it home, and we watch the Oscars. My partner and I, we watch the Oscars and just enjoy the movie award show aspect of it. But I will say that even before that incident, I thought it was not one of the best shows. It just seemed kind of a mess overall. Like the inserting previously taped segments into the show, I didn't think it worked very well. There were just a lot of odd choices, and it was just a lot of odd choices, and I don't know. It just wasn't a great show. It felt like it was kind of heading off the rails before that even happened. And then certainly after that happened, it just kind of, it completely killed the vibe in the room. There was even a joke about it. Like Amy Schumer came out and said like, "Hey, did something happen? There seems to be a different vibe in here." And I thought that was that's one of the best laughs in the show to me. But for sure. So it was, to me, it was already not one of my favorite shows. There were great things about it. But it was definitely not one of my favorite Oscar ceremonies. I'll put it
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to be honest. I used to love watching the Oscars when I was younger, like in my 20s and maybe even my early 30s. But I don't know. I just really felt like the show's been kind of going downhill really in the last 10 years. I felt like I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just the climate, the environment that we're in now, or what the deal is. But I don't know. It's just the Oscars always felt like a little more, I guess, just like a prestigious award show, and that's kind of what I've always come to love about it. And and before I get into the Chris Rock incident, and that's probably where I really because when he's I think he hosted it 1 year or something like that, and brought all this like additional humor and things of this nature in there, which is fine. But but I felt like it in general has become a little bit more mean spirited. And it's just, I don't know. There's just so much. I don't know if it's political correctness. I don't know if it's wokeness. I don't know what it is about the show, but there's just something about the show that's just started to rub me the wrong way over the last 10 years or so. And
it does seem to be. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, I just can't seem to quite put my finger exactly on what the issue is, but there's just something about the show where I'm just not as motivated to watch it anymore. And I don't know what it is. So, but go to your point.
Yeah, it does seem like a little bit, and not just this year, every year,
not just this year. Yeah.
It's every recent year. It's been trying to check off too many boxes at the same time, and I don't mean to complain about political correctness, because in essence, political correctness is a good thing. Inclusion is a good thing. That's a great thing. But when it seems like it's trying too hard, it's just kind of annoying. You know what I mean? And it seems like it's trying too hard lately to be relevant, to be, all these other things, that it's not any fun anymore. It's not even
exactly.
really about movies anymore, almost.
Yeah, I feel like the fun has kind of been just lifted out of the like the air has been lifted out of the room, in terms of making the Oscars an actual fun event for me to watch the whole show. And I'm going to be honest, I didn't necessarily watch the entire show. I was actually watching it in between watching a 3-hour long movie that was nominated for best for best picture, which was Drive My Car. I was watching that and paused it in order to watch some of the Oscars, and saw kind of the fiasco, and then decided that I wasn't going to finish watching. I would just catch the rest of the awards. And honestly, I even when I was younger, I only cared about the cream of the crop awards personally. I understand they have to have a show and everything has to be relevant, but I don't care about set designs and I just I'm great. I'm glad that Dune won for best jump cuts or whatever it is.
All the technical awards.
Yeah, all those technical awards. I mean, no one's like on the man. I sure hope. Oh, you know what I mean. I really hope they get best sound editing. But I understand you have to acknowledge those people and they have to get awards and things of that nature. But to sit through a 3-hour long bloated show for those awards, for me, I just kind of check out at some point. There's a certain point once and I do like the way they do it, where they try to space it out to where you're not getting all the bulk of the good awards at the end, because otherwise nobody would even tune in if that was the case. But they try to mix it up a little bit, so they'll do like a best supporting actress or something like that earlier in the show, and then later in the show they'll do something else just to kind of break the monotony a little bit. But I don't know, just something about it just always just kind of leaves a not the best feeling for me by the time it's done.
Yeah, I mean, I like all the quote unquote smaller categories too. I don't know. I like movies, so I like people talking about movies and nominating movies that I like. Another thing is, like, last year I think was the first year in a really long time that I hadn't seen all the Best Picture nominees, and this year I hadn't seen like 3 or 4 of them. And it's not that I didn't want to see them. It's just that I haven't made it there yet, and they weren't like real priorities, I guess. That's another thing. Like, too, usually I've seen all of them. I can rank them. I like to rank them in advance. Like, oh, here's how I'd rank the Best Picture nominees. I always like to do that. This year I'd only seen like 6 out of 10, maybe 7 out of 10. I can't remember, but
yeah.
And then another thing,
and that's the other thing, is there's so many that they're trying to be so inclusive. It's like, oh, we got to have the foreign film as Best Picture. We got to have, this as Best Picture. And I don't know if you've seen Drive My Car, but I didn't think personally that it was in the same category with some of the other films that were nominated. There are a lot of people that do love that film, but for me, I just didn't think that it warranted necessarily a Best Picture nomination, but I guess I can kind of see why. But it was no Parasite, let's put it that way, in my opinion. But as far as foreign films getting nominated for Best Picture, and that's the other problem I have with the Oscars is I feel like sometimes they feel like if somebody complains that the award show was lacking something, right? Then with the Oscars, because they're also affected by what people think about them, and that's the other issue I have with them. So if there's like an award show where like no minorities win any Oscars, well, then they'll try to overcorrect the next year, and then then it's just like it's a minority win Oscars overload kind of thing. Oh, now we got to have a minority director win. We got to have a minority best actor. We got to have a minority. You know what I mean? Like, so I feel like they kind of overcorrect a little bit as well in some instances as well. So.
Yeah. I mean, it's I don't know if it's the kind of thing I should comment on, frankly, but. Like it ultimately it should be the quality of the nominee, you know what I mean? And now that's going to come across. Well, wrong.
I'm not saying that those are bad films.
I mean?
I get what you're saying, and I'm not saying that necessarily those films or those actors or whatever didn't deserve necessarily to win.
Yeah, no.
But it is funny that when someone complains about something about the previous show, then they seem like they correct that the next show. You know what I mean?
Like what it doesn't always seem genuine. That's but at the
end of the day, it's like the awards are, they're voted by a bunch of, old stuffy people in the back room that, vote on these things. You know what I mean? So it's all opinionated based anyways. You know what I mean? So it's hard to say that this film was better than that film based on a group of people that are in the Academy that get the opportunity to vote on these films. So, I mean, you have to kind of look at it from that standpoint as well, so they're people too. They're human, it's not like some computer generated thing that's, spitting out, this is the Best Picture winner kind of thing. It's a group of people. And I'm sure in the back of their heads, they know what people are wanting to win, or they know what people are hoping to win. And, sometimes they'll go with the grain, sometimes they go against the grain, I think purposely. But anytime anything is awarded based on opinion, it's hard to be too,
Well, yeah.
picky about, who they gave an award to, whether you agree with their decision or not. So,
and also I mean, when you try other ways, it does not necessarily work too. Because I think something they tried this year that really backfired, in my opinion, was the audience vote awards.
Right.
Like the top 5 most cheer-worthy moments. First of all, you're starting to sound like the MTV Movie Awards.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It does get a little MTV-ish when you start.
Top 5 cheer-worthy moments, and then I don't know
if you're gonna do Best Kiss next year. You're gonna do.
I know. Yeah, but it's like, and you saw it, like it's like both of the audience award categories were won by Zack Snyder films, and I'm not a Zack Snyder hater. I'm a big Zack Snyder fan. But it's like, it's very obvious, like when the number one cheer-worthy moment of all time is a scene from Zack Snyder's Justice League that I don't even remember. I was like, oh, okay, Zack Snyder fans, we know there's a lot of them and they're very passionate. They dive bombed the poll, clearly.
Right. Yeah, clearly. Yeah.
And then he, Army of the Dead won Best Movie of the Year, which, hey, I love Army of the Dead. It was in my top 10. I like it more than most of the Best Picture nominees. But again, it was like, Zack Snyder fans bombed the poll.
So yeah, exactly.
And Johnny Depp fans bombed the poll because the number 3 movie of the year was some Johnny Depp movie that no one's heard of. Right. Yeah, so clearly, like,
it's Johnny Depp's cool. Let's go ahead and vote.
Yeah,
him in,
So I don't hate Johnny Depp. I like Johnny Depp.
Exactly. I don't hate.
He's canceled, but whatever.
Nominated for anything, I don't hate them. But it's like it's clear when something's in the tank based on the type of turnout.
His fans dive bombed the poll, and other people didn't care enough to vote. So it's like. So that system's not any good either necessarily, So, that was interesting.
Yeah,
that was interesting. Most cheer-worthy moment of all time: the Flash enters the Speed Force.
Whatever.
Okay, yeah, like I remember a lot of scenes from Justice League. That's not one of them really that springs to mind.
Yeah, definitely not.
But it's the best. It's the most cheer-worthy moment of all time.
Apparently so. All
time. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, moving on to the elephant in the room. We'll touch on this real briefly before we get into the actual nominations and who we thought were going to win and whatever case may be. But yeah, obviously the slap heard around the world, as everybody says. And if you're been living under a rock, you don't know the situation. No pun intended. Basically, just a quick recap. So, Chris Rock was up to present best documentary.
Yep.
Yeah, best documentary. And before he presented the award, he made a quip about a Jada Pinkett-Smith, basically saying, because her head was bald, and also because she was wearing like a green outfit as well, which a lot of people didn't mention, but that green outfit also made her look kind of like almost like military fatigue, almost in some capacity, which I noticed as well after the fact. But any of it, so he made a comment about her being in, G.I. Jane 2. They pan over to both Will and Jada. Initially, Will was actually laughing initially, I think, until he looks and sees Jada Pinkett's reaction, and she's not happy. So then he proceeds to next walk up on stage and slap Chris Rock in the face and then walk back down. So people are actually quite divided on this online. There are a lot of people that, felt that he was justified. A lot of people felt that he was justified in going up on stage and doing what he did, because he was protecting his wife. And there's a little more to the story than just that one incident. If you've been following the Will and Jada saga, there's been some issues in their marriage and some things that have come out that she said about him and things that she's done publicly and said about their relationship and all the other things. And I'm sure that has some weight on him as well. And then there's also supposedly some comments that Chris Rock made back in 2016 when he was on the Oscar, when he talked about them boycotting the Oscars and him saying that, Jada wasn't invited in the first place. So people were saying, well, that's payback for that from something from, 7 years ago or something. Any event, at any point, there was no reason for him to go up on stage and do that. I mean, it was just, I mean, it ruined the entire night of the Oscars. I don't care what your feeling is about it, where you thought he was sticking up for his wife or whatever. You took an award show and you ruined the entire show at that point. He even ruined it for himself because he ended up winning Best Actor. Sorry. He ended up winning Best Actor for King Richard, which nobody cared anymore. After that moment happened, that's all anyone talked about. You completely ruined the entire show at that particular
for
point.
Everybody who worked with you on the movie.
Everybody,
too.
Yeah. I mean, because no one could really celebrate after that point. There's reports came out that he was actually asked to leave the Oscars after that and refused to. So there's still an investigation into that as well. So whatever you think, whether he was defending his wife or defending her honor, that was not the time and place to do it. You could have had a conversation with him after backstage. You guys were going to the same after party, apparently at Puff Daddy's house. You could have had a conversation with him about it then. To walk up on stage on the actual performance was a dumb move on his part, in my opinion. It was just, there was just no reason for it. You don't go up on stage, and that's just, I don't know. It's just not the smartest way to handle the situation. Regardless,
dumb.
Yeah, I mean, it's just dumb. I mean, if you want to confront somebody, like I said, just do it off camera. Don't do it in front while the entire world is watching. And now that's the only thing being talked about. Most people, I had to remember, who even won the awards, because that's all anybody cares about. And we know 90% of the people that are chiming in with their opinions didn't even watch the show to begin with. I mean, I get constant people commenting on, posts that I make about the situation. And it's like, you didn't even watch the show. So it's just like, you have all these people chiming in about what should and shouldn't be done. But it's like, if you don't care because you didn't care to watch the show. So it's easy to sit back and say, well, that's the same thing I would have done if that was my wife. And it's just like, okay, you would never be in that situation. You know what I mean? You're not up for, Best Actor. You're not getting invited to these prestigious award shows. So it's easy for someone to say that sits at home, well, what I would have done in that situation is the exact same thing. And it's just like, it's easy for you to say because you're not going to those award shows. It's so easy for anyone to say what they would do or what they wouldn't do because you're not going to have the exposure to go to those award shows. So, but you ruin the entire show basically by doing that. Is what you did.
Yeah. To me, this is not one of those things where there's two sides to every story, or there's, two sides. There's no two sides to this. It was completely ridiculous. There's, rarely a good reason for a physical assault, which this was. It was a physical assault. And this definitely wasn't that reason. And I mean, it's just dumb. It's just dumb. Like, it was a joke. Like, to me, like, whether it was a good joke or an offensive joke or an over-the-line joke,
right?
It's
but
a
that's
completely
irrelevant.
Different subject.
Yeah,
Chris Rock was doing what comedians do. Right. They tell jokes. Sometimes they're over the line. People can debate it the next day. Was that over the line? Yes, no. Was it tasteless? Maybe he knew about her medical condition. Maybe he didn't. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Right. He was doing his job. This does not make it okay. You do not, anybody, Will Smith or anybody, doesn't have the right to walk onto a stage during a show and hit somebody who's doing a performance, who's doing what they're supposed to do.
It's a comedian on stage doing what they knew he was going to do. They brought the comedian out there because they want him to tell a joke to keep things funny. You know what I mean? Like I said, I think he's hosted Oscars, Golden Globes. He's hosting these shows because he's a funny individual and he tells jokes. So that's what you're expecting. It would be no different than being in the front row of one of his stand-up specials and he makes a joke about you. You're not going to get up and then go, sock a comedian because he's making a joke about you.
You will get arrested. Unlike Will Smith, you will get arrested.
Like, exactly. So it's so easy for, people with this, I just like stupid mentality to think that it's okay to get up on stage and go and slap somebody, because you would never be in those situations. You would never be there. So
and if you tried it, you would get arrested.
You would get arrested. Exactly right. And it's just like, I read somewhere about someone was saying something like, well, it's like one of those situations where, Chris Rock was never going to get arrested for telling a joke. But Will definitely would have gotten arrested if he was, Joe Blow and did that to somebody at a comedy show or whatever case may be. That person would get arrested for assault.
Yeah.
The other reason why he doesn't, because he's rich and has money, So.
Yeah. And Chris Rock wasn't going to, press charges. That's fine. I wouldn't expect him to really, but it's just is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. There's no two sides to it. Again, like a totally set, you can think it was a bad joke. You can think it was an offensive joke.
Yeah, you can think all that. I mean,
joke. I
don't care what your opinion of the joke was, whether you think that,
I might agree.
Yeah. I honestly didn't even think it was that big of a deal personally.
Neither did I.
Until, I guess she got upset and obviously he got upset about it, and then I'm like, well, what's the big deal? And then it's like Monday morning quarterbacking with like football, then after the fact, well, she has alopecia and he should have known that. I'm like, I didn't know that. You know what I mean? Yeah. I didn't know she had alopecia. I mean, there's a lot of people that didn't know that. And then chances are, unless you're following her Twitter or whatever case may be, you might not know that. And I don't know that Chris Rock is following her that intimately to know whether she had alopecia or not. So we don't even know if he knew that when he told the joke,
Yeah, he could have, again, like if the joke would have just happened, no one would be talking about the joke anymore. Like there may have been like a little bit, I think Chris was over the line with this joke the next day. Then it would have faded from memory. Instead,
exactly right. Yeah,
I don't see it as protecting his wife. I see it as it was pure ego.
Yeah,
pure ego. That's all it went up there.
It was just
all about him. Now it's overshadowed the movie, overshadowed the Williams sisters, overshadowed everything that's happened since.
Yeah,
and it's 100% his fault.
Overshadowed his performance. Because now, like there's actually talks to have his Oscars taken away from him. I don't think that's going to happen. But but still, I mean, that's the thing. You know what I mean? Like you open up that door to where people are now screaming that you shouldn't even have deserved an Oscar, especially because apparently he was asked to leave and did not leave. So there are a lot of people that are saying that, or he may be banned from previous or from Oscars in the future. That's what they've been said. He may not be invited back to award shows in the future because of his behavior. So was it really even worth it? Like, what really did he accomplish by doing that? That's the thing I ask anybody. What was accomplished by doing that? Showing the world that you love your wife and you know what I mean? Like what, you know what I mean? Like that's what you accomplished.
I wasn't doubting it, frankly.
Yeah. Did anybody think that he didn't love his wife that he's been with for, 20 years or whatever it's been and had a bunch of kids with, and she's come out and said all this other stuff about, other relationships he's had with other guys and all this stuff. And he stayed with her through all that. I think we kind of get the general sense that he probably does love his wife at this point in time. You know what I mean? Like you didn't need to do that to prove it, So,
I mean, like, I wouldn't want his Oscar taken away because it was a really good performance.
No, he earned it. I didn't see the movie, but I haven't seen it yet.
Good.
Anyways,
it's really good.
But I mean, if he earned it, he earned it. You know what I mean? If that was his award win, then he definitely deserved it. And there have been other films that he did where he was nominated or up for best actor and didn't win, and this was his time to win it. I don't know if this was his best performance because I haven't seen the movie or not, but I know, like, there was Ali and Concussion. There was a lot of other films that people thought that he should have gotten it for in the past, and that's why they boycotted the Oscars, because he didn't get for Concussion or whatever case may be.
Five people saw Concussion. You know, so I think that's probably why. But anyway,
10 probably saw King Richard, to be honest with you.
No, I think more people see it. It's really good. It's really good. But just like I was gonna say, I had one more thing to say, but I wouldn't want them to strip the Oscar, and to be, and honestly, nobody's perfect, and he did the apology that he came out with, and I don't want to get into the that the thing that happens where people debate whether an apology is good enough or not, which I think is silly. But it was a well-written apology. But I also, like some people have noted, it came out pretty much right after the Academy came out and said they're opening an investigation into it and they're, condemn it. Then all of a sudden the apology popped up out of nowhere,
Right, exactly.
And Chris Rock actually apologized first. I didn't think he should have had to apologize for anything, frankly.
Yeah.
So it's just all an ugly affair.
If I told that joke, I wouldn't have apologized for it, because I would have just said, look, I didn't realize her condition, so it was a joke. I'm a comedian. I tell jokes. That's what I'm paid to do.
Yeah, I didn't deserve to get hit.
So exactly. I looked at that. So,
so
that's just me. So
yeah. So I mean, like I don't really like to add to the hubbub. Really, I hope we all move on from it. But it was
yeah,
definitely an ugly thing, and there's no two sides to it. Will Smith was wrong, and wrong.
exactly.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah,
Well, moving on
yeah.
to the actual winners.
Mm-hmm.
So I just kind of went down the line. So we started with Will Smith. So I'll start with the actor in the leading role. Obviously, the nominees for Javier Bardem, being the Ricardos, Benedict Cumberbatch for Power of the Dog, Andrew Garfield for Tick Tick Boom, Denzel Washington for The Tragedy of Macbeth, and of course, obviously Will Smith for King Richard. Of this category, having not seen King Richard, I personally I was actually in the tank for Benedict Cumberbatch for The Power of the Dog. I thought that for me I would have been fine if he had won. I never saw Being the Ricardo, so I can't comment on that one. You already know I wasn't the hugest fan of Tick Tick Boom, and I liked The Tragedy of Macbeth. I thought Denzel Washington was great in there, but I didn't love that film either. So for me, I was kind of going for Benedict Cumberbatch. So.
Yeah, I don't know who I would have voted for personally because it's a really strong category. Like I did see all 5 of those movies, and I did like Being the Ricardos, but I wouldn't have voted for Javier Bardem. But really, honestly, any of the other 4 I could have seen. I actually thought Benedict Cumberbatch was going to get it because everyone thought The Power of the Dog had like a huge push behind it and was going to sweep, but it ended up not getting
Yeah,
much. Really,
I think it
honestly.
only got like one award, I believe.
Yeah, which is a big one, which was Best Director.
Yeah,
But
yeah, it was nominated. It was nominated for I think the most. So I think people thought it was going to sweep. Was the assumption. So,
but I mean, I loved all the other, like I didn't dislike Javier Bardem and Being the Ricardos. He was good. He was real good. But like the other four I would say were all really good performances and really good movies. So I don't know who I would have voted for, honestly. Probably I might have voted for Denzel, even though I knew he wasn't going to get it.
Yeah,
but I thought he was great in that movie.
I didn't think he was going to get it just because he's won twice already now, I think.
Yeah.
So I just didn't think he was going to get it for this role personally. So
yeah.
All right. Then there's actor in a supporting role. There's Troy Kotsur for Coda. Sharon Hines for Belfast. Jesse Plemons for Power of the Dog. J.K. Simmons for Being the Ricardos, and then Cody Smith-McPhee for Power of the Dog. This one was a tough one for me also. I did think that Troy was really, really good in Coda, although obviously had no speaking lines, so I almost felt like, honestly, I almost felt like this one was kind of a gimme. I kind of figured that because, anytime 2 actors are nominated for the same movie in the same category, they were in the same movie, Jesse Plemons and Cody Smith-McPhee, I always kind of feel like they're going to kind of cancel each other out.
Yeah.
So I kind of just figured more than likely neither one of them were going to win. I didn't think Sharon Hines was going to win for Belfast. I just didn't feel like it was going to be. And then I didn't see Being the Ricardo, so I can't say. So I wasn't too surprised that he actually won for Coda in this situation. So, which is also a really good movie. So,
yeah, bringing up Coda, like this is probably the first time in a very long time that I haven't seen the Best Picture winner yet. I'm going to see it. But Coda is one of the ones I hadn't seen yet.
Yeah, it is really good. I actually did like it quite a bit. It didn't make my top 10 or anything like that this year, but it was definitely my honorable mentions. And probably for some time, it might have been actually teetering on the bottom of my top 10. There were just so many films I saw later in the year, last year, that just kind of pushed a couple films that I really loved out. But it was a really good film.
Yeah,
and the acting was great, and I thought he did good. But it is, I know it is. I'm not saying it to be funny that he didn't have any speaking lines, because that's obvious. But because he just still be a good actor. I know it just came out funny. But because you could still show emotion and anger and everything without actually having to talk. So but he definitely did a great job in there, and hats off to him for sure. So.
Yeah. I didn't really have a dog in the fight on this one, really. Like I liked both of the actors from The Power of the Dog, but I wouldn't say either one really blew me away. I hadn't seen Coda, and I really like J.K. Simmons and Being the Ricardos. He was probably my favorite of the 3 nominated performances, but he was also doing like the J.K. Simmons thing that he always does, kind of,
warm but sarcastic
old guy, you know.
Right.
And who was the other one? The
Belfast.
I haven't seen Belfast. That's one of the others I haven't
Yeah,
seen.
I
So
just
I don't
recently
know.
saw that one. Yeah.
I think I'd
Yeah,
probably
you're
vote for J.K. Simmons, even though he didn't have a chance of winning. I don't think, even though he was good. Even though he
yeah,
was good. Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like both Jesse Plemons and Cody Smith-Fifi. I would, if I had to lean, I would say Cody Smith-Fifi, just because of his character in there. Would
Yeah,
would have
more of
been
an
the strong.
arc.
Yeah, he had more of an arc. So yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
just my opinion.
Yeah.
And then there's actress in the leading role, and I'm gonna, before I even get into the nominees, the only film that I even saw in this category was Spencer. So so I really had no dog in this fight at all. Which I didn't. I thought she was good in there, but I didn't necessarily love the film. But I thought she was the best part of that film, of course. So so obviously Jessica Chastain won for The Eyes of Tammy Faye, which of course I didn't see. Olivia Colman was nominated for The Lost Daughter, which I meant to see, I just didn't get around to. Penelope Cruz and Hello Mothers, Nicole Kidman and Being the Ricardos, and then obviously, as I say, Kristen Stewart and Spencer. So,
yeah, these I've seen all of these. Well, let me get there. The only one I hadn't seen was The Eyes of Tammy Faye, and I love Jessica Chastain. Yeah,
the only one I've seen all of them. The only one I didn't see is the one that won.
yeah. So I remedied that. Basically, I'm halfway through it right now. I watched half of it because it's on HBO right now. I watched half of it this morning because that's what I do. Like I don't have enough energy when I get home from work at night to watch a whole movie. So what I do is watch half of it before I go to work and half of it when I get back. It works for me. But so I watched the first half of Eyes of Tammy Faye this morning. I'm really enjoying it, actually. Not that I didn't want to see it, but it just wasn't on the front burner. And then when she won Best Actress, I was like, maybe I better bump this to the top, closer to the top of the list. And I will say, halfway through it, it's really enjoyable, and she's really good in it. So I can see how she won. I didn't really think it was going to be her year as much as I like her. I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, this is what, her at least second or third Oscar at this point, right?
Yeah. I can't remember.
I could have sworn she's won before in the past.
I thought it seemed like it was going to be Kristen Stewart's year, and I probably, I haven't finished The Eyes of Tammy Faye, but I probably would have voted for Kristen Stewart because I thought she was great in there. I thought Olivia Colman was great, but I wasn't wild about The Lost Daughter.
Right. That's kind of how I felt about Spencer's. Is I wasn't wild about the film, but I thought her performance was great. So
right, yeah, and Being the Ricardos, I liked, didn't love it, but I liked it. Nicole Kidman was really good, as she always is, but it wasn't like knock my socks off the performance. And what was the other one? The
Parallel Mothers.
Oh, you know what? I haven't seen that one either. But I'm not a huge Pedro Almodovar fan, which I know is like heresy with a lot of movie lovers, but I've never been an Almodovar fan for the most part. Yeah. So I just haven't sought that one out. Yeah. But I like Penelope Cruz, so I'm sure she's good in it.
For sure.
But I am enjoying The Eyes of Tammy Faye. We'll see how I am at the end of it, but I probably still would have voted for Kristen Stewart.
Cool.
Yeah.
Then there's actress in a supporting role. Obviously, the winner was Adriana DeBois for West Side Story, which I didn't see. There's also Jessie Buckley, The Lost Daughter, which I also didn't see. Judi Dench in Belfast, who I felt like was barely even in that movie. So I was like, I thought that was just kind of a gimme throw in there.
Judi Dench is one of those actresses that like she gets 5 lines and it's like an Oscar nomination.
Yeah, no matter what. I'm not saying she wasn't good in there. She just was barely even in there. You know what I mean? It was mostly about it was mostly she's like the grandmother. But it was mostly about like the family unit. You know what I mean? But she was kind of like off to the side in there. So I don't know. I didn't think that. I was kind of surprised. So. Christian Dunst in Power of the Dog, and then what is it? Anjuni Ellis? I don't know how to pronounce that. Anjanu Ellis for King Richard, which I didn't see that one, obviously. So the only two that I saw in this one was Judi Dench and The Power of the Dog. So clearly, I was going for Kristen.
Judi
Dench and Kristen. Yeah, just those two. I'm sorry. Just Judi Dench in Belfast and Kristen Dunst in Power of the Dog. So I was going for the Power of the Dog, just Kristen Dunst, just because that was the only one that I saw. So
it's Kirsten, not Kristen.
Kirsten, yeah.
Kirsten. So This one was tough for me because Ariana DeBose is really great in West Side Story, really
Yeah.
great. So I'm not mad that she won it all. Personally, I would have voted for Kirsten Dunst because I've always really liked her, and of all the performances in The Power of the Dog, I think hers was my favorite. As much as I liked Benedict Cumberbatch, I think she was she was who really blew me away, and I've always liked her. So, to me, it would have been like this was a good chance for her to get an Oscar that she deserves. Not that Ariana DeBose doesn't, but she's kind of new on the scene. But hey, great for her. She was really good in it. Her speech was really good. I'm definitely not mad about that. And
Sure.
Jessie Buckley. Oh, Jessie Buckley's always good. I didn't love The Lost Daughter. Judy Dench. I haven't seen Belfast. And what was the other one that I'm forgetting?
King Richard.
King Richard. Okay, yeah, I really liked King Richard, but I don't know. Ingenue Ellis just didn't like. I don't like.
I don't even know who that is. So.
Yeah, she didn't make her character didn't make a huge impression on me. To me that was Will Smith's movie. But she was good, but it didn't like when it was over. I wasn't like, oh, I can't wait for her to get nominated for an Oscar. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Yeah.
All right, I'll do animated feature film. Encanto, Flea, Luca, Mitchells versus the Machines, and Raya and the Last Dragon. Of these, I only saw Luca and the Mitchells versus the Machines. So of those two, I would have went with the Mitchells versus the Machines personally. The winner was Encanto, though. So
yeah, Encanto was good. It was kind of like there was no way Encanto was going to lose. It was good, but
all the buzz was around that film, so I kind of figured that was going to be the one that was going to win. Because I know you really love the Mitchells versus the Machine, but no one really was talking about that one that much. After it came and went, but everybody and their grandma loved Encanto, so I just kind of figured that was kind of a gimme category. So.
Yeah, I would have voted for the Mitchells versus the Machines. I think that's a really fun, unique movie. But it's hard to beat Disney. So nothing against Encanto. It was good. It was good. I liked it, but I would have voted for the Mitchells versus the Machines. Yeah. Flea was really good. I didn't see Raya and the Last Dragon. And then what was the other one? Luca. Luca was lukewarm.
Yeah, I wasn't even that big a fan of Luca. I was like, I was like, that's all the animated films that came out because I was like, really, Luca?
Yeah.
I was like, it didn't really, it was kind of like The Little Mermaid in some way.
It was Luca was like aggressively forgettable.
Yeah,
it was like I saw it. It was over. It made no impression on me at all.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I did not enjoy it. It was fine, but it was kind of like, okay.
Yeah, same.
There was 90 minutes gone. Yeah.
All right, moving on to cinematography. Run through this real quick. So obviously the winner was Dune. The nominees were Nightmare Alley, Power of the Dog, The Tragedy of Macbeth, and West Side Story. Yeah, I guess. I didn't love Dune, but I could see why that one won of the ones that were nominated. So didn't have any. I probably would have been slightly more leaning towards The Tragedy of Macbeth in this case in terms of cinematography, just because I love that surreal look of everything. So just in my personal opinion, but Dune, obviously I'm not complaining because it was visually it was great to look at. So so. Even if some of it was, CGI or green screen or whatever.
Well, but, a lot of Dune was too.
Yeah, a lot of that's true. So yeah.
Yeah, this one, like I think I think Dune was kind of a shoe-in for this one, but honestly, I would have been happy with any of these. All 5 of these movies have really distinct looks. Tragedy of Macbeth got a super distinct look. Nightmare Alley was beautiful. Power of the Dog that had amazing cinematography.
It did.
They made it look like the West. It was a beautiful movie. All 5 of them are really beautiful, distinctive looking movies. So I wouldn't have been upset about any of these.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know how many of these I'm going to do, but costume design, I will do that one real quick since it's up next. So Cruella was the winner of that. The other nominees were Serrano, Dune, Nightmare Alley, and West Side Story. I think Cruella was probably a shoo-in for this one just because of those costumes were just so outlandish that they were all wearing. It's a movie about almost costume design in itself. So you know what I mean? So you know what I mean? Like, who else was gonna win that category, in my opinion? So
yeah. I mean, again, like I totally see Cruella as a deserving winner here, but all of them had really great costume design. So like, none of them would have been a bad choice
for sure. Then next up was directing, big category. Obviously, the winner was Power of the Dog, Jane Campion, which that was my favorite film of all the films that I think were nominated for this year. So I would have wanted them to win almost every category probably. So I was glad that it did get something. There was also Belfast, Kenneth Branagh, Drive My Car, Hamaguchi is his last name, Licorice Pizza, Paul Thomas Anderson, and West Side Story, Steven Spielberg. So for me, I would have voted for this one all the way around. So. I never saw West Side Story because I'm not big in musicals, but so.
I mean, like, I'm definitely, I probably would have voted for Jane Campion too. Although, like, again, I haven't seen Drive My Car either. It's another one I haven't seen, but I'm, they all the ones I have seen are, I can't say it was bad directing. So I don't think there would have been a bad winner here. But I probably would have voted for her because I think of all those movies, it was the most distinctive. And I'm a huge Paul Thomas Anderson fan, but Paul Thomas Anderson, it's I like Licorice Pizza a lot, but it's not in my top half of his movies personally. I know you differ on that, but I probably would have voted for Jane Campion. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
But I think with you also, you there's rarely a film that's nominated that you dislike though. So for any of these categories, am I right?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's too many, Marvel junk in the visual effects, right? Isn't there like?
Yeah, well, we're not even going to cover those. So.
Yeah.
So
the Spider-Man movie.
I'm not trying to go into every single category, so I don't know. We'll cover all those.
Editing and sound. They probably, I know they snuck into a couple categories, but I'm glad they didn't win.
For sure.
I'm really glad that crappy Spider-Man movie didn't win anything.
And then there's documentary feature. Which was Summer of Soul, which I think we probably both are
super happy about
going to win that one. The other nominees were Ascension, which I didn't see, Attica, which I didn't see, Flea, which I didn't see, and Riding with Fire, which I didn't see either. So.
And what was kind of a bummer about that is that was the one that was presented by Chris Rock. So, even though that was such an amazing movie, hardly anybody could even concentrate. On,
because that was they totally ruined. Yeah, totally ruined his moment on that one for sure.
Yeah.
So, but no, I think we both agree on that Summer of Soul was the definite winner for that one. So.
Yeah, the only other one I saw was Flea, which was good, but it was no Summer of Soul. And I do want to see Ascension and Attica. I just haven't yet. Riding with Fire, I don't know anything about really.
I don't think either one of us have seen short subject documentaries.
I haven't seen any of the shorts. I usually don't. I'm not a short film guy for the most part. I don't seek them out. I know at the theater I used to work at, we would do, and some theaters in town still do that. I think they show, like you can go see like all the animated short films in one sitting and all the animated live action films in one sitting. And I've done that before, but it's just not my forte really usually.
For sure. We'll do a few more. I'm not going to do all the ones that are coming down here, but we'll do just a couple more. So film editing, the winner was Dune, Joe Walker. Don't Look Up was nominated, Hank Corwin, King Richard, Pamela Martin, Power of the Dog, Peter Siberus, Tick Tick Boom, Myron Curson, and Andrew Weisblum. Obviously, Dune won, which anything that's like action heavy, I think is going to have probably the best shot of winning some of these categories, because you got to do a lot of really good jump cuts in terms of action shooting and things of that nature and editing and that sort of stuff. So kind of another one that I feel like was a no-brainer that the Dune was going to win. Dune was actually the big winner, but they didn't win most of the big ones for like acting and directing, and so they won a lot of like the editing and sound awards. But
I think that's kind of the way people expected it to go. They expected Dune to be a lock on all the technical categories, and then but they weren't going to win. It wasn't going to win Best Picture or
no. I didn't think it would be. So
no, I mean I love it. I thought it was great, but I didn't think it had a chance for winning Best Picture.
No, I didn't think so either. To be honest with you, not looking at the categories. So obviously international feature films. Drive My Car, the obvious winner. Flea, which I didn't see, The Hand of God, which I didn't see, Lunana, A Yacht in the Classroom, I didn't see, The Worst Person in the World, which we wouldn't. That one just came out here, I believe, recently. So I want to see that one. I just haven't had a chance to. So
same here.
So I know it's playing at the Tower now, but I just haven't had a chance to see it yet. So
same here. Only one I've seen is Flea, which I liked quite a bit, but I didn't love Flea.
I figured that Drive My Car was going to win just because it was already nominated for Best Picture, and I figured it wasn't going to win Best Picture, so it was a shoo-in for international feature film. Because it doesn't make any sense to nominate for Best Picture, and you know what I mean. But then it also doesn't win international feature film. Well, then why weren't one of these films nominated for Best Picture? I guess is the way I deducted. So but I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna skip makeup and hairstyling. Eyes of Tammy Faye won that one also, but there are a lot of ones. There were films nominated in this category we didn't even like Coming to America. So
see that's that's the kind of thing. Like Coming to America.
So I'm just gonna skip that. Go on to music original score. Dune obviously won. Hans Zimmer. There other nominees were Don't Look Up, Nicholas Britell, Encanto, Jermaine Franco, Parallel Mothers, Alberto Iglesias, and The Power of the Dog, Johnny Greenwood. I mean, it's all what Hans Zimmer. Everybody knows Hans Zimmer. You know what you're getting when it's a Hans Zimmer.
Loud. It's gonna be loud.
Just loud, a lot of loud crashing noises, symphony, just
So
you know what you're getting.
I would have voted for The Power of the Dog on this one. Like, I'm a big fan of Johnny Greenwood. I'm a big fan of Radiohead. He's in Radiohead, and he's only done a few scores, but they're all really distinctive and cool. Like his score for There Will Be Blood is amazing. He did the score for the music for this. I remember, like, I've only seen The Power of the Dog once, and it's been a couple of months ago. But what I remembered was Kirsten Dunst and the way it looked and the way it sounded in the music. So he was great. His music was great. I think it was the most distinctive of all those. Again, I haven't seen all of them, but I would have voted for him.
Cool.
Yeah.
So music original song. The winner obviously was No Time to Die, which wasn't a surprise to me.
I like the song.
Yeah. The other nominees were Be Alive from King Richard, Dos or Gutas, which from Encanto. Down to Joy from Belfast, and Somehow You Do from 4 Good Days, which I've never even heard of that movie. So, so obviously No Time to Die pretty much deserved to win, in my opinion. So,
of those, this is always such a weird category.
That's why I just kind of go through these ones because some of these ones are weird. I'm not going to go through. I think Best Picture's up next. And I think that's the last one I'm really going to cover. So,
I like. All day. Like I wasn't crazy about the new Bond movie, but I did, I like the song. I like Billie Eilish. I think they picked the wrong song from Encanto. Encanto's got a lot of good songs, and that one is just kind of forgettable, honestly. Yeah. Let's see. 4 Good Days I haven't seen, but I have heard of it at least. But the song was kind of a snooze. I like Reba McEntire just fine, but it was a snooze. The Beyonce song I thought was a great performance. It was a good way to open up the show, but the song is nothing special really. It's just kind of a forgettable song. And what was the other one? The one from Belfast, which I haven't seen. So
Yeah,
this would have been a no-brainer for me. Definitely the James Bond song.
cool. And then the final one I'm going to talk about is the Best Picture, which, obviously the nominees were a lot. So West Side Story, Power of the Dog, Nightmare Alley, Licorice Pizza, King Richard, Dune, Drive My Car, Don't Look Up, Belfast, Coda. Coda obviously is the winner, which is a little bit of a surprise to me. I didn't really think that one had a serious shot at winning. But obviously anything that's nominated could win. When I'm looking at, there's 10. When I'm looking at the 10 nominees, I just for some reason didn't really. I thought it would be higher than Don't Look Up. I would have been really shocked if Don't Look Up had won. I felt like that was kind of a gimme thrown in there, but because most people I even talk to don't even seem like they really love that movie. So I was really surprised that was even up there, but I don't know.
Because they love Adam McKay.
Yeah, so I didn't think that was gonna win. I was pretty sure because I was watching Drive My Car halfway through that wasn't gonna win. I didn't think Dune was gonna win. And then I hadn't seen King Richard, but I just didn't hear the buzz. I heard more of the buzz about Will Smith than I heard about the movie itself. So I equated it to like Stewart or something of that nature, where the actress was great. I'm sure the film's good as well. I just didn't think it was going to win. So for me, it really came down to was Licorice Pizza, Nightmare Alley, Power of the Dog, and then obviously I know a lot of people like West Side Story. I didn't see it, and I'm not that into musicals, but I honestly was rooting for the Power of the Dog for this category. And then I had two big backups, which are Licorice Pizza and Nightmare Alley, which were both in my top 10 last year. But Dune wasn't. I mean, not Dune, but Coda wasn't too far. Coda would have been like number 15 for me. So that would have been after those three. That would have been my next choice. So.
Yeah, again, like I mentioned earlier, this is probably the first time in memory that I haven't seen the Best Picture winner when they win. And it's not because I don't want to see Coda, it's just I hadn't gotten around to it yet. Right. And the trial expired on my Apple TV Plus membership. So I need to go back and actually get the membership, which I plan to do. I mean, it's worth the $5 a month or whatever.
Right.
So I will see that soon. I also haven't seen Belfast. I haven't seen Drive My Car. I think it's a joke that Don't Look Up is nominated. I don't know what it's doing in there. I'm glad it didn't win anything. Not that I hated it, but it was not.
It just wasn't that good. It just was. Yeah. There's nothing special about that film. So yeah.
Of the other ones, I like them all to varying degrees. Personally, like the only one that's in my top 10 from last year is Dune. So I guess by default I would have voted for Dune, but it didn't have a chance. I really thought the Power of the Dog.
If I was a betting man, I would have said the Power of the Dog. It was also my favorite of the ones that were nominated, but I thought it was also going to be the one to win. I guess just because it was nominated for so many categories, to only win one, I was really surprised. So and I don't know. I always have something. There's always something funny about me about the Best Picture winner also not being the Best Director. I always feel like those categories are kind of weird to me. Like I've always felt that way about the Oscars or any award show. I'm like, so you're telling me she's the best at directing, but her film wasn't the best. You know what I mean? Or vice versa. So you're telling me this was the best film, but the person that directed that film
wasn't even nominated.
Yeah. So I don't know. Just there's something weird about that whole thing. It just rubbed me kind of funny. I mean, I get it, but it's just they're very. You know what I mean? It's just kind of odd. You know what I'm saying?
So I'm sure Coda's an enjoyable film. I'll check it off the list.
Yeah. I don't think you're going to think it's the best picture of the year, but I definitely it's a really good film for sure. So, I think it's going to be one of those cases where it's definitely one of those years where I think most people that you talk to would say that Power of the Dog should have won over it for that year. It's just one of those years where there's always a case where there's the film that everybody wanted to win didn't win. You know what I mean? It's just going to be another one of those years. So, and it happens, So,
yep.
But cool. Yeah. Well, that's it. That's the only ones I really want to cover. So that's our Oscar recap. So, was there anything else you want to add about the Oscars for this year?
No. It was definitely a memorable ceremony. For good and for ill.
I almost had to go back through these again just because I couldn't remember who won all the categories because that's all I've been hearing about is what happened, So cool.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, let us know down in the comments. What were your picks for the Oscars? Did the films that won should have won? Were there some other films that should have been nominated? Oh, I didn't ask you. Were there any films that you felt that got snubbed this year, or should have been nominated, or actors that should have been nominated, or actresses, or anything? Or
I don't know. Like that always comes up, and like I'm not very good with that kind of thing because it's usually like whenever I see the nominees come up, I for whatever reason I tend to only focus on what's there. And
yeah,
then, the next thing I know is all my friends are saying like, "Oh, so and so didn't get in, and so and so didn't get in, so and so didn't get in," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, oh yeah, and oh yeah," but like I don't know. Like I see the nominees and I focus on them.
yeah.
Obviously, like I said, like only one of the Best Picture nominees was even in my top 10. So there are obviously movies I liked a lot more than all of
Yeah,
those.
yeah.
But
My number one film wasn't even considered in contention for the Oscars, so I was like,
yeah,
oh, okay.
yeah,
I mean, because it didn't make, because they did their cutoff starting like in like March or something like that of
yeah.
last year, and that film came out in like in January or something weird. It was something weird about that, so which I didn't even
Yeah.
know. I mean, not that it would have got nominated anyways, but it was just like one of those situations where you're like, that's weird. Um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but yeah, no, I'm kind of the same. I mean, there's obviously certain films that sometimes I'll see and I'm like, man, that would be cool if that one got nominated. It'd be cool if so and so got nominated for that role. But it's one of those things. I only know about the snubs when it's almost expected that somebody's going to get nominated or a
Yeah, like
film's going to
Lady
get nominated.
Gaga. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So like that one. Yeah, like I felt like she deserved it. But a lot of people didn't really care for that movie that much,
yeah. I
from what
know.
I've talked to. So I don't know, maybe that kind of hurt it. It was like one of those ones where a lot of people didn't necessarily love the movie, but they loved her performance. But so it's kind of like one of those ones where she was right there in the bubble. So
Yeah, yeah. I was genuinely surprised that she didn't get nominated. And I
yeah,
thought she was really good. Um, and I liked the movie.
yeah,
I didn't love the movie, but I
yeah.
really
I liked it a lot. I
I
liked it
enjoyed
way more than I
myself.
thought it would.
Yeah,
Yeah, I liked it. It didn't make
yeah,
my top 10, but it was pretty close. So yeah, I liked it
yeah,
way more than I thought it would. So for
yeah.
sure.
It was fun. It was
Yeah,
enjoyable. Yeah.
cool. Well, once again, sorry for cutting that off, but yeah, let us know down in the comments. And obviously, if you like the channel, we ask you like, subscribe, make sure you hit that bell notification, and we'll be back again soon with another show for you guys. We thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. Bye.
Bye.